Hey everybody, welcome to Takeoff with John Clark, and we've got two special guests. Anytime you introduce the Eagles right now, Super Bowl champs, Jake Elliott and Braden Mann. We appreciate you joining us. I know these are tough circumstances. You are both on the road, living the life. Braden, we appreciate you getting up in the middle of the night in Japan, like literally 4 a.m. to do this, so we appreciate your time.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for doing it. It's going to be fun.
And Jake Elliott, of course, you guys are getting ready for what they're calling the Pro FTB golf tournament at PGA Frisco, the East Course. It's going to be a 3-day modified Stableford format on the Fields Ranch. $400,000 is the prize. I mean, does that kind of like open your eyes a little bit? $400,000 on the line here?
Yeah, it's definitely going to make it interesting playing with a little money on the line. But this is what you kind of want to experience as an athlete in another sport, going and playing golf and kind of getting the competitive juices flowing and kind of feeling what the pros feel.
How about for you, Braden?
Yeah, it's going to be a thrill. It's the most money I've ever played for is playing for like $10 in a round against Jake, and I usually end up losing it. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of golf I can play in a competitive setting.
Yeah, you're not putting up $400,000 when you play Jake. That is not a smart investment.
No, it's always him just taking my money in the summer. So maybe we can make it a little more competitive this year, this go around.
That sounds really good. I want to ask you a couple questions about what you guys did this year. And first, let's go back to the parade, because one of the videos that went viral was you, Jake. How did this come about where you made a field goal kicking a beer can? I mean, where do you get the beer can? Did somebody throw it to you? How does this happen?
I mean, where don't you get a beer can at that point in the parade? They're coming from all over the place. I actually think it was my wife who we were walking into the crowd and holding a beer in my hand. I said, "Why don't you put that down and let's kick this thing and see it explode a little bit? I feel like the fans will like that." So we did it once or twice, and it kind of took off. And then Braden got down there and held one. We had our coordinator, Clay, he was out there as the uprights for a little bit. And luckily, no severe injuries during that.
So did you actually see where it wound up, or
No, never.
That's not the one that hit Howie in the forehead, is it?
I'm hoping not. I saw a little video editing that made that happen, but I'm not going to take credit for that.
So wait, so you're saying you did kick it, and Braden, did you hold it or no?
Yeah, I held one of them. Actually, during the parade, I saw on my phone, I was just on Twitter seeing all the updates, and I saw that his wife, Annie, had held one and that he kicked one through. I was like, I missed it. And so I headed down there and I held another one for him, and Rick snapped it, and we had the whole operation going. So of course I wasn't used to holding the slippery beer can. So I dropped the first snap I got in the middle of the parade, and then Jake ended up making it anyway.
That's pretty classic. I mean, that's not far off from your incredible holds in the playoff game against the Rams in the snow. Those were incredible holds. So, I mean, it's kind of similar, right? You got something's a little slippery.
Yeah, the beer is much harder, I got to say. It's much easier to catch football than it is a slippery beer in Philly with 30 degrees. So,
now, after he kicked a field goal, busted up the beer can. By the way, I think this is going to be a drinking game down the shore now. I imagine that people are down the shore going to be kicking field on the beach, maybe setting up some uprights and kicking beer cans. But did anybody ask you to punt a beer into the crowd?
No, luckily no one asked me to punt a beer. A lot of people asked me to catch beers being thrown at us, but no one asked me to punt one. So I'm sure the punt wouldn't have gone as well as Jake's kick probably would have.
And Jake, do you have to hit it a certain way? Do you know where to hit it so that it explodes properly?
It was certainly a learning process along the way. We kept doing more and more, though. I feel like by the time we got to the art museum, we were pretty full throttle at this thing.
All right. Speaking of full throttle, I was there at the art museum, and my opinion, I think Nolan Smith had the most fun at the Super Bowl parade. Would you agree?
After video review, I would say he was certainly up there. Him and Q probably.
How about you, Braden? Who are you nominating?
Q's video of him yelling "Go Eagles" in the microphone. I have barely. That's probably the first time I've ever seen Q's voice get even close to that loud. So he was definitely feeling himself at the parade. It was hilarious watching that video back. And then Nolan, of course. I mean, those two together is just a lethal combination.
I thought Nolan was gonna steal that baby. Did you see that video?
Oh yeah.
Maybe he didn't know exactly what it was at that point. So give us an idea, Philadelphia fans that are watching this. I mean, when I first got to the art museum, you guys started at the link. I'm there at 8 a.m. and there are thousands of people already there waiting. I saw my first person puke at about 8:15, and that was during the Eagles chant. So for you, the fans were waiting there at the art museum, thousands of fans from 8 a.m. until like 2 p.m. Give us an idea of what it was like to experience it on the buses, on the floats, going up Broad in the Parkway.
Yeah, I mean, they brought the energy for 5 miles. It was crazy. The fact that they were down there by the stadiums and then all the way to the art museum, just a sea of people that you couldn't see the end of was incredible. I mean, this is the best fan base in the world, and you see that for a reason. And when you bring something home like that, you see how passionate they really are about it. I have one question. I don't know where all these people go to the bathroom if they're there for that long.
It's a great question, Jake. And I will tell you, the Flyers parades 50 years ago, the stories are legendary about Bernie Parent, the legendary goalie, getting off of a float and a woman inviting him to come into her house to use the toilet. And I believe they didn't flush the toilet for months after that. So, but the crowds, I mean, the crowds are so big, you really can't get through the crowd. But that is a great question. And we'll pose that. Maybe we can get some comments when we post this on YouTube. Braden, how about for you? Because I know Jake experienced a parade already. He's got 2 of them now here in Philly. How about for you experiencing this in Philly for the first time?
Yeah, I was just going to say, Jake, it seems like he kind of had an idea of what to expect, obviously, from the first one. This was my first experience, so I kind of expected a slow start at the beginning, like, 5 miles away from the art museum, just like a little bit of, space, like no fans and everything, but it was packed full the entire way. I was just amazed that people were there that early, and they were getting after it early, and it was a lot of fun, setting the tone. I think I caught my first beer on the bus maybe 10 minutes in, and so I just knew it was going to be a really long 4 or 5 hours. It was awesome. Seeing everyone there was amazing.
So when you say Jake had experience at this, Jake, do you kind of like know where the beers are coming before they're thrown at you? Do you kind of have experience now, head on the swivel kind of deal?
Yeah, head was definitely on a swivel. I think if we do this again, hopefully soon, I'm probably gonna wear my helmet. We had a couple casualties on the bus. I know Grant Calcaterra's wife took one to the head, wasn't pretty. Jason Michaels, his wife took one to the head, wasn't pretty. So definitely head on a swivel, and you're calling for beers like you're calling for a ball when a quarterback releases it. Like the ball's up, you gotta be on the lookout.
So we might see full protective helmets for a lot of people in the next parade.
No doubt.
Jake,
I think bike helmets at the very least.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Jake, I mean, Brandon Graham after the parade, he kind of said, and maybe Howie said it as well, that the first one was like, hey, the Eagles finally did it. And, first time since the NFL championship in the 1960s, they actually won a Super Bowl parade, had a Super Bowl parade. And then they kind of say the second one was like a celebration. It was just a party. Did you feel that way at all? Like, what was your comparison of the two?
Yeah, I would agree with that wholeheartedly. I think the first one was like this big sigh of relief and everybody coming together, like we finally did this thing. And then this one, like the fans have experienced it, they know what to expect. And it was kind of just like how the game went. It was just a celebration and a party. And you could, as you're approaching Broad Street, or as you're approaching the art museum on Broad Street, and then you can kind of see just this culmination of just a huge celebration. And that's what the whole day really felt like.
And I'll tell you, being down here at Phillies spring training, that's where I am. There's a couple of Phillies who are from Philly. Tyler Phillips is one of them. And we were talking about the Super Bowl today. And we all just kept saying, he said it, Spencer, my guy here that I'm working with, said it. When you looked up and you actually saw it was 34-0 on Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, and the Chiefs, was there any time during the game where you're like, wow, this is really happening this way?
Yeah, it's one of those where you don't want to you don't want to feed into that too early. You know what he's capable of. Obviously, the game was going how it was going, but like from my perspective, and I'm sure Braden kind of feels similar. Like no matter what, we still have a job to do on the field. Fourth quarter, whether we're up 1 million or not. Like I still got to go out and make kicks. He's still got to go out and execute punts. So I didn't really feel that until almost the clock hit zero, to be honest with you, and I knew we weren't going to kick anymore.
How about for you, Braden?
Yeah, it's one of those, definitely what he was saying. It's like you want to start I don't know, celebrating when you know the game is about out of reach, but that happened late, and like you said, we still had a job to do. Like when I think there was about 2 minutes left, maybe a little bit under 2 minutes, and there was gonna be a fourth down. I was like, I'm gonna go out and punt this. Like I still have a job to do. Like I still have to go out and execute and do my thing. Luckily, we didn't end up punting it, so I didn't end up having to be ready. But I was still going through my routine way late in the game, trying to just lock in on that. It's one of those where you just kind of very individually worried about what you got to do until, like Jake said, the clock hits zero. So once it did hit zero, it was just a big old sigh of relief for everyone. It was really awesome.
And I got to tell you, I mean, it just seemed like everybody was locked in. You guys were great. Field goals and punts. The entire team was great. And looking back at the speeches that the Eagles put out there, Jalen Hurts, like, saying that first Super Bowl loss like affected his soul, changed his soul, and in a profound way, and he was on a mission. I mean, did you feed off of kind of Jalen Hurts and his almost revenge game and being on a mission the entire year? And everybody seemed to have that feeling of just so locked in. I mean, did that reverberate through the team?
Yeah, I mean, I think the guys that were here a couple of years ago when we experienced that loss, it's so different getting there and not getting it done, and the feeling that kind of leaves with you. And we obviously feed off of everything that Jalen does, what he says, his actions, and kind of between him and all those guys really that spoke. Saquon, and then you see Saquon in the game and starting to gain a big lead, and he's pumping the brakes, telling everybody to settle down and lock in here. So I think that's just kind of the vibe of the whole team, and you feed off your leaders like that. So having a guy like Jalen, having guys like Saquon, all those guys is huge and important, and a big reason for why we got it done.
Braden?
Yeah, I mean, obviously you guys saw a lot of the speeches from the night before, and I think it was just kind of it wasn't a whole lot of rah-rah, like get the team hyped up. It was just kind of quiet confidence and just like we know what we're capable of, and each person individually doing their job and coming together as a team and just having fun. I think the team had fun all year, and you see that with just everything from. I think one of the moments that the year kind of the attitude of the team kind of flipped a little bit was when Coop had that big hit on Derrick Henry and everybody gets up celebrating. Everyone was just celebrating on the sideline, just knowing this rookie was, coming and bringing some juice. And I think that carried on the rest of the year, and just kind of that vibe and that attitude, just having fun. And that was the attitude going into the game. And so I think it carried on. And I think you saw a lot of smiles on game day, before the game started, during the game, at the end. So it was just a lot of fun for everybody.
And I got to tell you, Braden, we got to give it up for Jake, because I saw this statistic. I mean, Jake, I believe you are now 9 for 9 in Super Bowls. Am I right?
You would probably know better than me, but that sounds right.
9 for 9 in Super Bowls. That's tied for the most field goals made in the Super Bowl history. And it's the most field goals made without a miss in Super Bowl history. I mean, you're amongst the greats there. So what is it about the biggest moments? And even though maybe you didn't have the regular season you wanted to have, in the biggest of moments, you're able to come through like that. I mean, where does it come from as far as mentally?
I don't know. I mean, first of all, it's the opportunity to play in a bunch of Super Bowls, to have those opportunities. And then after that, I don't know. I've always kind of enjoyed those big moments. Kind of the feeling you get going out on the field during those times. The very first one we played in my rookie year. I mean, obviously having the experience all the way back to my rookie year is helpful, and just being able to kind of hone in that energy and use it for good has been always something that I've been capable of and I've enjoyed. And having a great operation with Rick and Braden also helps. making sure those guys are clean on the biggest moments in high pressure situations. So a lot of credit to them, and hopefully we get a couple more.
And Braden, I know very rarely on the national shows, ESPN and all that, we're not talking about the hold on field goals, but in that game against the Rams in the snow, is that something you're able to replicate in practice? I know I've seen them, with a hose or a bucket of water and stuff like that, but are you able to replicate that where you are making two incredible holds on field goals in the snow?
Yeah, I think that video got a little bit, like some of the Rams game holds got a little bit blown out of proportion a little bit. I think honestly, if you want my honest answer, a snow holding and catching footballs is easier than rain, because the snow kind of hits the ball and falls right off. In rain, it's on the ball and it's slippery and it's like a whole mess. So I think honestly, the snow might be easier. It's hard to replicate that, like you said. That you can pour water on the ball like it's raining, but you can't replicate snow unless it's snowing in practice. So unless you get a little bit lucky there, but definitely Rick makes my life a whole lot easier in those situations. I mean, when it's raining, he's had snaps that are money, and in the snow, he had snaps all day that were so good. And yeah, for whatever reason, they like doing the close up of the holds, but if you saw the snaps, like they were just right there and really easy to grab, and he makes my life a whole lot easier. And then obviously the kick's got to be good. And the fact that Jake was able to make that in snow that's this deep was pretty incredible that game. So it was just fun to be a part of that whole game and the whole operation on it.
I mean, Jake, it sounds like Braden is downplaying this. I would have just let the video speak for itself. Like, wow, that's pretty incredible.
Yeah, he's a stud. But it's everybody, like he said, kind of blows that one out of proportion. But that happens all year. And like he said, watching the stuff in the rain to me is more incredible. And the holds that he makes during practice all the time. I mean, I see it all the time, so I guess I'm not surprised by any of it. But he makes my life a whole lot easier, that's for sure.
And Braden, I noticed you and Jake, I was up in the press box, and I can't remember if it was 5 hours before the Super Bowl, but you guys got there earlier than anybody I've ever seen. Whose idea was that?
I think we both like to get there real early on game days. If we have a night game, we'll take the trainer bus every now and then and just kind of get over there so we're not sitting in the hotel room all day, and kind of get on the field, stretch the legs a little bit, and just kind of get used to the environment, used to the atmosphere, play some catch, have some fun, be loose before a game.
But I mean, that was probably earlier than you've ever been to a game, am I right?
It kind of just depends when that trainer bus leaves, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So Braden, is that just what you do?
Yeah, I like getting there way early. Truthfully, it's a lot easier to get there early when you're playing indoors and you can show up to a nice dome to just to be in and enjoy the nice weather before the game. I don't know if I'm showing up 6 hours early before a cold game. But yeah, I like to get there. Like Jake said, you're either going to be sitting in the hotel or sitting at the stadium, so we can go and play catch and get used to this feel of the stadium and just kind of, I don't know, it's a good chance to just have like a quiet vibe before everybody gets there. When it's just us and some of the coaches and trainers, it's just no one's in there. It's very peaceful and calming, actually.
Yeah. Well, that was cool. You're right. It was very nice conditions in there. And it was announced today, you guys are going to be going to the White House to celebrate your Super Bowl championship. How special is that you're going to get recognized nationally? There's going to be a day, late April 28th. You guys won't be in Japan or Arizona, right? You're going to be going to the White House. How special will that be?
Yeah, it's an honor to obviously go to the White House. It's something you always saw as a kid, watching all the world champions get celebrated there. So just have the opportunity to step on that property is something that'll be really cool.
Braden?
Yeah, I didn't know that. So I
yeah,
sleep.
That's news breaking.
It's nighttime. Yeah, it's nighttime here, so it's 4 a.m. So I just got that news from you. So that's actually really cool. Yeah, I didn't know that. That's sweet. That'll be, like Jake said, it's an honor to be able to go there and celebrate like a bunch of past champions have. And to go to the White House, what a legendary just way to end to cap off the Super Bowl, and definitely a huge honor to be able to go and celebrate there.
All right, since we broke the news to you, just making sure Monday, April 28th, do you have anything going on? Like, are you guys going to be able to go?
I don't have anything going on now except going to the White House. So that's my plans now. Whatever I did have, I don't have anymore.
Jake, you got to cancel a round of golf or something.
Yeah, I think we should probably be back to OTAs around that time anyway. So I think that's like a nice field trip.
That's very cool. And obviously, I'm sure you've seen the news. You've got like 6 of your defensive players that are leaving. Some guys are signing big, huge contracts to go elsewhere. They earned that in free agency. When you guys, had the speeches the night before the Super Bowl and you play in the Super Bowl, then you have the parade and you take a picture together. I remember guys always saying, we got to remember this moment because we're all not going to be together again. Does that hit you real hard when you see you've already lost like 6 of your teammates?
Yeah, like you said, that's every year where you go into that last game and you're never going to have that same team together again. And then especially after you win the whole thing, after you win it, guys are obviously playing well for a reason, and they're going to get paid somewhere. And so it's sad, and that's the tough part about this league, about this business. But it's also very rewarding when you see guys that you're so close with go get rewarded. And really happy for those guys, but sad to see them go, obviously.
Braden, how about for you?
Yeah, it's tough not having the same group together. I mean, it's this is such a special and tight-knit group we have. But like Jake said, it's super happy for those guys for getting the contracts that they all deserve and being able to go and play a year somewhere else on another deal. So like you said, I'm sure it's not easy watching guys go, especially guys that well or whatever the case might be. But like just happy for those guys and excited for anybody we get this year in free agency. You always lose guys, but then you always gain some guys. And I'm sure each free agency, the Eagles last year was obviously a few big signings, and obviously that paid off for us. Hopefully it's going to be the same going forward.
Yeah, it's just wild to me. Like you go back to the Super Bowl team of 2 years ago, Jake, where, you lost half of your defense that year. And then you go back to 2017, the Super Bowl team you're on. 4 guys left, you, Rick Lovato, Lane Johnson, and Brandon Graham, and you guys are a part of history. I'm sure you heard. First Philly athletes to win multiple championships in 50 years. Is that pretty special, understanding the history of Philadelphia sports and how much people revere the athletes who become champions in Philadelphia, that you're a part of that select? I'll call you the 4 horsemen. You got 2 championships here.
There you go. Yeah, man, it's special just being a part of an organization for this long that's this good and this special, and just thankful they've kept me around for this long, and hopefully we can get a couple more out of it.
Well, I tell you, it all started with you when you came over to the Eagles and they got you off the practice squad, right? And then you kicked that game-winning kick against the Giants, right? And they go on a run.
I'm not going to take credit for any of that, but I'm happy to be a part of it.
Then Carson Wentz had a bet on that on the sideline, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's right.
All right, so if I were to ask you guys, what would be the toughest thing? Jake, I'll start with you. Kicking a field goal to win the Super Bowl, kicking a beer can through the uprights, or kicking a field goal at the parade with a beer can, or you have the winning putt on the line to win the Pro FTB, which stands for football. $400,000 is on the line. What would be the most nerve-wracking for you?
Yeah, no, it's the putt for sure. Every time, because I'm not going to make it. I know that if it's a 5-footer, it's probably not going in. I'm not a good putter. I've kicked a million footballs. I feel confident doing that. I'm probably going to miss that putt.
Wait a second. What? This is not Braden, the promo they're looking for.
Hey, Braden's seen it. I'm going to miss the putt. It's what happens.
Braden, I mean, this is not what an athlete does when they step up to something like this, is it?
He's downplaying himself, man. He's made more 5-footers on 18 to beat me than I can count. It's absolutely ridiculous what he's doing right now. He's setting the bar low, and I won't stand for it. It's insane. He lives for that. He lives for a 5-footer on 18. I don't know what he's talking about.
I have 6 putters in my bag right now.
That's
none
true.
of which work. So it's gonna be
He-
a trial run on the practice green next week, and we'll see what's working best.
The most
think what
frustrating
you-
thing is in the world is that he switches putters almost every round and still putts well with it. It's insane. He's like, which one works better? And then he makes a 30-footer on the first hole, and I'm like, that one seems to be working just fine. So it is I've had the same putter for 4 years. I can't make a 4-footer. So we'll see what happens.
I think what's going on here is you're trying to lower the odds too on you, so that you undersell and then over deliver when you show up there.
Hey, I'm not an odds guy. Sports gambling is illegal for us, and I will not partake.
Have you used the incredible Super Bowl championship putter and putter cover that you showed off on your Instagram? Is that working?
You know what, I've used it for one round. I've unfortunately not played much golf, so I'm not extremely ready for this tournament, but I have used it. It feels great. It's probably going to be the one that we use this week.
Nice. And Braden, I mean, I'm looking at this field. You got Marshall Faulk. I actually got to play around with him at Marion one time. I didn't deserve to be in his group. He takes that stuff real serious. He hardly spoke during the round. Friendliest guy before the round and after the round. Tim Brown, Eric Dickerson, Dwight Freeney, Brian Urlacher. I mean, this is a tough field here. Do you have any handicap, or are you going to pick a winner between Jake Elliott and all of these legendary NFL guys?
Man, it is. I don't know what I did to be able to play this tournament. It has been. There's a bunch of legendary names in there, and I know that they're all extreme competitors. It's going to be so cool just being, possibly in a group with some of those guys and just being able to hear hopefully some cool stories about their career and being able to play in a competitive environment. Because obviously I didn't get to play when a lot of those legends got to play football, but I get to step on the same kind of playing field as them. So it'll be really fun just to see everybody and meet everyone and hopefully share some laughs and share some stories and in the clubhouse with them and on the golf course. It'd be cool.
Jake, is there a guy that I mentioned there, or maybe I didn't mention in the field that you're thinking like could be the winner of this other than yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I know there's a lot of retired specialists in there that all were really good golfers when they played. So I can't imagine how good they are now that they're not solely focused on football. So I'm worried about all the specialists in the field, the Scobies, the Brett Kearns, the Hauschkas, all those guys. And I'm looking forward to playing with Urlacher. Growing up in Chicago, he was always a big name, obviously, in the city, and excited to meet him and hopefully play maybe around with him.
That is awesome. And being down here at spring training, I was talking to some of the Phillies about their rounds of golf down here to get together and build camaraderie with the team. And JT Real Muto is the guy that everybody's chasing, kind of like you, Jake, with the Eagles. Who do you think is the best Philly pro athlete golfer in the city? I mean, you, JT Real Muto. I'm trying to think of who else. There's got to be a hockey guy mixed in there because they've got the hips, right? The torque.
Yeah, all the hockey guys can hit it now. All the hockey guys can hit it. Some of the baseball guys are always good if they can figure out how to get rid of that slice. But I'm not totally familiar with a lot of the games of the Phillies or the Flyers. So we'll have to put a little tournament together ourselves at some point and get all the guys out there.
That would absolutely be amazing. JT Real Muto is the guy they're all chasing here.
Okay.
And he wins some of the Phillies events. So that would actually be really cool if we could get a couple.
Yeah, let's put it together, John. Let's put it together.
I love it. And you guys, this is an amazing experience. I mean, I can't believe the purse money here, $400,000, the Pro FTB at the PGA Frisco on the Fields Ranch course, Stableford format, 3 days. I wish you guys the best. And I tell you, all these other guys, it seems to me, are retired and golfing year round. You guys had a job this year winning the Super Bowl, so you haven't been able to practice as much.
That's all right. Less swing thoughts.
Yeah, I think I played three rounds since September, so we'll see how it goes. I'm going to get back on Friday, and I'm going to do nothing but golf until my round on round on Thursday. So I'm just going to go home and practice. I need to putt. I need to hit some shots. It's going to be bad. We're playing like you said, I think I have an official vote for who I think I'm most scared of. It's going to be Brett Kern. We're in a group text with him. He has had 2 hole-in-ones in the past month. That terrifies me. So if he's that locked in right now, it might be a rough weekend for me.
I mean, maybe he used them up though. We could look at it that way.
I think he's sending those. I think he's sending those as an intimidation factor only. I'm gonna call his bluff and say he has not hit 2 hole-in-ones in the last month.
I like that. And Jake is saying he's not going to make any putts. I like how this is going.
Yeah,
down playing, slow playing, everything.
Correct.
That's cool. You guys going to have a friendly $10 on this between you two?
We might push it to 15 depending on where we're at in the field on day 3.
Yeah, three-day tournament. We can do a 10 a day or something like that.
There you go. I like that.
That's awesome. Well, what a year for you guys. I mean, congratulations to you. By the way, Tyler Brown, a kid from South Jersey who you work with, special teams assistant. His dad, of course, got to win a Super Bowl in the New Orleans Superdome. And then his son, with you guys, wins a Super Bowl. I mean, how cool of a story is that? Him coming home to coach you guys with the hometown Eagles, and then you're all winning a Super Bowl together.
It's awesome, man. Tyler's a heck of a story and one of the hardest workers in this building. So I'm glad to see him getting some recognition that he deserves, and obviously being the son of the legendary Randy Brown, following his footsteps, and now we need to get him another one so he's got bragging rights.
And Braden, how does Tyler? Is he a golfer too? Does he match up with you guys?
No, I played 3 rounds with Tyler. Tyler's he is the longest backswing of all time. He's got a John Daly backswing, and it is an incredible video to watch. You got to take some video and slow it down. It's quite the sight. Yeah, but Tyler's the man. He is, like Jake said, he's one of the hardest workers I've ever met. He's the best. He has helped me a ton since I've gotten to Philly, and just kind of, a little bit of my development. And I've had a lot of growth as a punter and as a guy because of Tyler. So super stoked for him. I mean, he had to be one of the hardest celebrators as well. He's got to be right up there with Nolan Smith and Quinyon Mitchell. He was about as excited as I've ever seen anybody win a Super Bowl. I'm sure it's to match his dad. So like Jake said, we got to get him to pass Randy on Super Bowls.
That's sweet. What a great story for all of you. And best wishes in this golf tournament. Can't wait to see it. Well, I mean, this is not bad. I mean, a Super Bowl, this event, the White House. I mean, you guys are living the life. Congratulations to you, and thanks for sharing it with Philly.
Thanks, John. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, John. Appreciate it.
Oh, mom, so flagrant.